We want to respect your time, and we're very glad and thankful for all of your efforts to learn more about the Core Health and Fitness Strength Line this afternoon or morning, depending on where you're calling in from. Core has a very extensive lineup of strength equipment, and although we're calling this Nautilus Strength 101, depending on what your background is, I guarantee there's going to be some information you didn't know. For some of you, this will even be a true introduction into the strength line, and so we're really glad you're all here. A couple of quick housekeeping points. This presentation can be found immediately after the close of the presentation today. Within about 5 minutes, I'll have it uploaded to the Core porthole, and you can access that anytime you would like. If there's someone in your organization that wasn't able to make it to this WebEx, but you know this would be a good WebEx for them, you can direct them to the website and allow them to view it there. Also, if you have new hires coming on, it's a great place to bring them to for a whole bank of training. Also, if you have questions throughout the presentation, there is a messaging feature in this WebEx software, and we would ask you to send your message anytime you want throughout the presentation, and I will ask those questions of Jake at the end of the presentation. The more questions, the better. Definitely, you have a question, send it, and we'll be sure to ask Jake at the end and try to get those answers. Jake has put together a good presentation, and to give him as much time as he needs to go through that, I'm going to go ahead and pass the reins over to Jake at this time. Jake, thank you so much for making the time. The floor is yours, sir.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon or good morning if you're on the West Coast. Happy to present to you guys today, and gals. So this presentation is the overall strength portfolio. Part of it will be review for some of you. Part of it may be all new if you're new to our product line. We haven't had in the past a really good presentation that shows all of our product lines and how they fit together and how you can win with each individual line. So that's the intent here. So like Adam said, send him questions. If you have questions, we'll cover those at the end. I'm definitely interested to see if you find this helpful, what you find helpful in it, and what else we can add. We're going to be doing some more of these next year, diving a little deeper into details of the product lines and details and strengths. So we definitely welcome feedback there after the presentation, what it would be good to dive into more, whether it's biomechanics or a specific line or any other topics you might be interested in. All right, next slide. So just a little bit about the history here. So we've had multiple product lines that have come together, and we put everything under the Nautilus brand over this past year. But there's a lot of history with, the Flex product line, the Nautilus products, the Star Track products. So I just wanted to touch on that briefly. So the One line, the Evo line, and the Gen 3 Inspiration probably have the most of the fingerprints of previous Nautilus. Arthur Jones created the strength training revolution in the 70s and literally brought resistance training to the masses. Arthur Jones is responsible for the selectorized strength that we see today, prolific throughout the market. So like I said, that influences on a lot of our product lines, and that's the brand we use across our product lines. Flex Fitness, so we see that on our Impact line. So that was from Mark Nally and then Kevin Eink, who still works for Core Health and Fitness. They built a strength company on the heels of Nautilus, Cybex, and others. So our Impact line is evolved from that original Flex line. A lot of emphasis on ease of use, some unique movements. Bodybuilders really flocked to the Flex Fitness line back in the day. And then the Human Sport, Freedom Rack, and first generation of Inspiration, those were developed by the Star Track team. They had purchased Flex and they were getting into more strength products. So those products first came out originally as Star Track products. So what you're seeing now is our portfolio starting to come together, all under the Nautilus brand. You'll see there's some lines that are going away. So we don't have redundancies, so we're pulling it together so we have a real complete product lineup that hopefully serves everyone's needs. So Next slide. So this is our product lineup going into 2018. So I have the products listed by category and then roughly by price point. So you can see under single station selectorized, we have Nautilus 1. That's our more ultra premium product line. Our Inspiration single station selectorized line. Evo and Impact are our mid price point lines in that category. And then Instinct is our entry level line. Under dual station selectorized, we have Instinct, and then under functional training, we have our DAPS, our Inspiration, our Instinct dual adjustable pulleys, the Human Sport product line, and then the Freedom Trainer. Under multi-station, we have our multi-station product line. This is one that was previously Star Trek branded that we changed to Nautilus branded this year. And then under benches and racks, the heavy duty product line that was introduced about a year and a half ago, all of our Inspiration benches and racks, and then we have some Instinct benches and racks in that entry level offering. And then under plate loaded, we have our leverage line, and then we have a number of plate loaded products that are designed to go along with the leverage line. They're not exactly like the leverage line, but the design cues are similar, and they're great pieces to supplement the leverage line. Okay, next slide. So end-of-life products. So I mentioned we had some redundant lines, some redundant product lines, and this is from the merging of Star Trek and Nautilus and bringing the brands together. So these product lines will not be built next year. Hopefully most of you have heard of this. You're aware that we won't be taking orders anymore for these. So the reason for that, again, redundancy or product lines that just aren't selling well. So these are the Nova line. And some of these products, like the Nova line, weren't even in the catalog last year. So these are some that we continued to produce if there were some dealers that were continuing to sell these product lines. But Nova is a good example, very low sales. It just didn't make sense. It was a competitor with our Instinct line. So that one's going away next year. The Explode line and then the F3 multi-stations. So the multi-stations are a competitor with the other with our other multi-station offering, and the Explode Zone sales just have not been that good in that category. We're looking at some other options in that functional fitness category, and that's one where I'd love to hear your feedback, like what your needs are there, or what your customers' needs are. In the benches and racks, the F3 line will go away. And then under plate loaded, the majority of the Explode line will go away. And again, that's a product line that wasn't even in the catalog this last year. And we've kept select pieces of that line in there to help supplement the leverage line. So leg extension, leg curl, we don't have those in the leverage line. Four-way neck, deadlift shrug. There's some pieces that fit well and are unique pieces, so we'll keep those around. Next slide. So we'll go over Nautilus 1 now. So now I'm going to just step through each line, kind of the high points of each line, where you win with each product line. So we'll start with Nautilus 1. Next slide. So the product story for Nautilus 1, it's the best feeling, easiest to use selectorized product line on the market. Unfortunately, it's one of the most expensive as well. So I put this up there with more ultra premium. The Inspiration line is more the premium line that competes with most of our competitors, but the Nautilus 1 definitely has its place. It's dial weight selection. It's the only one patented dial weight selection. There's no other weight tower out there in the industry like it. It is very user-friendly for anyone from a senior to a bodybuilder or a power lifter. I see Kevin's on here. So it's very, very easy to use and very, like I said, it appeals to a number of people. There's no guide rod system. There's no add-on weight stack to provide friction. So it feels more like a plate-loaded piece, very low friction. Belt drive, wide pulleys, bearings. Again, it's very smooth feel. Hydraulic seat adjustments, and then this has the traditional Nautilus biomechanics made in the USA. So where does Nautilus 1 win? Premium clubs. A lot of times we're selling small circuits, 4 pieces as a supplemental line. We've had a lot of success with YMCA's this year. Just like I said, like 4 pieces. Some place where they may not invest in strength very often, but when they do, they want a very versatile piece. So we've sold, leg and upper body circuits. We've sold like core circuits. Those have been very popular. So small pieces, so you probably wouldn't sell a whole product line, but a few pieces of Nautilus One is often very popular. Okay, next slide. So for customization, this is something we'll be offering next year. So we'll have a black shroud option on Nautilus One, and we'll have one of these pieces at URSA if you guys are there. There were complaints that the current shrouds didn't have that premium look to match the price point, so we have a black shroud offering. And then we have an option where customers can put custom logos on the outside of Nautilus One, so you see this one is for a YMCA. Okay, next slide. So now inspiration. So this is more of our premium line to kind of line up with the competitive market set for premium selectorized strength. Next slide. So the inspiration story, superior look and functionality. Like I said, our premium Nautilus strength line. We have lock and load on this line, so again, a very unique weight selection. It doesn't feel quite as smooth as Nautilus One, but you're not chasing a weight pin around, so definitely a competitive advantage. We have a consistent tower height, a clean, consistent look design between pieces, bilateral, independent arm movements, hydraulic seat adjustment, large push, small ergonomic grips, contoured upholstery, made in the USA. And then we've done a lot of improvements to the biomechanics on a number of these pieces as we went through and done our Gen 3 inspiration, which is launched kind of throughout this year. So you'll see some of these pieces have an improved strength curve over previous generations of inspiration. So where inspiration wins, full strength lines in premium or budget clubs, oftentimes we're priced below competitive premium strength lines. So a great premium strength product. Next slide. So for customization, this is the one that we do customization on the most. Our full shrouds are the most popular option. There's ability to place an image on the outer shroud. We also offer custom frame and upholstery colors. So the whole process and pricing for customization, if you go to customstrength.corehandf.com, and I believe I have that somewhere in this presentation, it walks through the pricing for all these upgraded options. I believe this full shroud is a $225 upgrade price per piece, but it definitely we've seen sales people win deals with that this year. So it's definitely it definitely comes out as an advantage sometimes. Okay, next slide. So Nautilus Evo, so one of our mid-price point strength lines. Next slide. So this is the only product in our lineup that does not have the lock and load weight stack. So if there's a customer that previously had a bad experience with the lock and load weight stack, this could be a solution for them. It does have the pins, but it's an innovative pin weight stack that doesn't have an add-on stack. So it's a split pin, so you get the small 5-pound increments without the add-on. So that, like I said, mid-price point. Footprint is another really positive feature of this line. It's a very small footprint. It doesn't have the consistent look of inspiration, but it doesn't take up all the space. So if there's a customer with tight spaces, a customer that's really into traditional Nautilus strength products, this is a great product line for them. All the movements are, well, not all the movements, a lot of the movements are converging or diverging paths of motion. We have the large push, small pull ergonomic grips, and made in the USA. So, next slide. In terms of customization, we can't do full shrouds like we can on Inspiration, but we can do custom logos on the outside of the shrouds for this product line. And then I'll go through custom frame and upholstery options at the end of the presentation. Next slide. So impact, like I said, this is our previous Flex line, and this is our other option in mid-price point strength. Next slide. So the impact story, proven, smart, effective. So this line's been around a long time. It still has the rounded tubing. It doesn't have a dated look, even though it has been around for a long time. It does have the lock and load weight selection, so that's a competitive advantage. Evolution of the proven biomechanics. So a number of these pieces throughout the years have been updated. In fact, when we changed the Nautilus brand this year, we actually went through the Chin Dip Assist is one that'll just be launching this fall, and a number of other pieces we've went through and done some design updates on. So we continue to evolve this line when we get the input from customers. Graduated in heavy standard weight stacks. Where does this win? Customers want a proven product. It's consistent product family look within the line or across with some of our other lines like Inspiration, or a budget-conscious consumer that wants a full-featured product line. Okay, next slide. So in terms of customization on impact, again, we can't do the full shrouds like we can on Inspiration, but we can do custom logos on the outside of the shrouds with the customer's logo. Next slide. So Instinct line. So this is our entry-level single-station selectorized line, and then, like I said, we have a number of free weight pieces in the Instinct line as well. This is also our only line that has the dual station options. Next slide. So Instinct story, easy to use, easy on space. Our entry-level Nautilus strength line. Again, lock and load, definitely a competitive feature. Most of these weight stacks are graduated weight stacks. They do not have an add-on stack, but they'll be 5-pound increments to begin with, and then 10 or 15-pound increments as you get lower on in the weight stack. Quick and easy adjustments. Like I said, we have our dual function units as well as our single function units in this line. We generally don't do custom colors in this product line or stickers. To keep it budget conscious, we tend to do just the standard silver color and black upholstery in this line. So where does EVO win? Standalone vertical strength line, or often it's a supplement to another selectorized circuit in a gym. So this could be a small circuit setup for specific body parts, or just a supplemental circuit in another area of the gym. Okay, next slide. So human sport. So this is a real unique product offering. This is one where we offer, actually I'll go to the next slide. So the product story, so life happens in 3 dimensions. Your training should too. So this is our Nautilus functional training circuit. So this features a user-defined strength training experience in which the machine follows the motion of the user. We offer a trainer can come out and walk through kind of the human sport program that can be offered in a club and train the club's trainers. It's a great program. Some regions have really emphasized it. It's a great opportunity to have something unique in the club. And that's where we see human sport really win. It's a unique offering within the club, or some boutiques that are looking for just a standalone strength offering. There's a methodology you can go through on human sport where you go through progressive movements on it. So it's a great product for a trainer to work with somebody on, and it's a great product for a user or a client to go through different progressions. You can go from, on some pieces, seated to just leaning against the machine, or completely standing. So it's really firing the core, and you're, like I said, working in 3 planes of motion. So it's definitely a functional training piece, which is on trend. Okay, next slide. As far as human sport customization, we'll do custom frame and upholstery colors. Normally we don't do decals. We can do decals. You see this picture has a retro fitness decal on there, so we're capable of doing decals on it, but it's hard to find a good spot for them on these pieces. And this human sport is made in the USA as well. Next slide. Okay, our multi-stations. Next slide. So currently, this is really configurable to meet your space. And currently, the multi-stations are ordered in a 5-station, a 9-station, or a cable cross. We've had some input from customers that they would like to order a standalone pod or have it a little more configurable. So we're doing some things next year. So in addition to ordering the standard, 5-station or cable cross, we'll have it set up so that individual SKUs can be ordered. If someone just wants a 4-pod or they want a cable cross with 1 station on one end, they'll be able to do that. Because we understand, sometimes because of size constraints or space, you do need a custom option there. So we'll be setting that process up. We have updated the swivel pulleys on the cable cross, or the pulleys on the cable cross, to have a unique 2-position lock. So that's definitely a competitive advantage on those products. And custom paint and upholstery are also available on this product line. So where this one wins, really any customer looking for a configurable multi-station solution. This is a great product line. Next slide. All right, leverage. So you can see the unique look on the leverage line. Definitely a unique plate-loaded option, whereas a lot of plate-loaded pieces, it looks like a jungle of iron and weight plates. So the leverage line looks really well as it's very functional product line. Next slide. So the story here, maximum strength and size gains, great looking product line aesthetically, and then proper biomechanics. So the whole line is called leverage because we have the lever, one-of-a-kind lever and pivot points for optimal biomechanics. We have independent arm movement, converging and diverging motions, stainless steel grips, user-friendly gas shock assisted seat. Very, like I said, low load points, definitely a very unique line. Custom paint and upholstery is available on the leverage line. And then where this wins, really any customer seeking a plate-loaded line. And this is another product line where we've done, over the last couple of years, we've done a number of improvements to this line. We continue to get feedback from customers, and we've done a number of things. We've changed the design of the pivot points. We've changed a lot of the joints to bolt-through joints. So this line has a lot of product updates. Okay, next slide. So the plate-loaded line, like I mentioned, these are a lot of unique pieces. Like some of these are some of our best-selling SKUs, actually. Like the Freedom Rack is a great selling SKU for us. These have designs to look like they go with the leverage line, but aren't necessarily have the complete framework and plate storage like the leverage line. Next slide. So the product story here is really proven unique movements like the Freedom Rack or a Smith. They're designed to complement the leverage line. Like I mentioned, the Freedom Rack, very unique piece, patented track technology. These products have been updated again. We went through and updated a lot of these products in this line. With small tweaks, we made sure all the joints are through bolt. We've adjusted a lot of the bearing and pivot points, so this line has a lot of updates in it as well. Next slide. Benches and racks. So we have an extensive product line of benches and racks, including our Inspiration, and then our HD half rack platform, and then accessories to go with the half rack. Next slide. So where does this win? Solid, sound, competitively priced free weights. This is our free weight line. The HD half rack platform and glute ham raise were released in late 2016. The rest of this product line, again, over the last year and a half, we went through and made a number of updates to make sure all the joints are bolt through, to address any concerns with any products in the line. So there's been a lot of positive changes made with this product line. We lowered all the height of the benches. There were some complaints on the height of the benches. They weren't consistent with like a standard powerlifting height for a bench or with competitive offerings. So the benches were lowered 2 inches to 17 inches. There's urethane bar catches, which prevent wear. And then our weight horns are chromed. They're blasted and then chromed, which end up holding up a lot better than a lot of the competitive offerings, so they'll look a lot better. If you go in a gym and you see one of our pieces compared to the competitors, you'll see the weight horns aren't nearly as tore up. So where this wins, just really any customer seeking a free weight line. Next slide. So we do offer custom colors on all these products, and on the platform, we will do custom logos on the platform. So there's a couple examples there of custom logos. Next slide. Okay, so I said I would talk about paint and upholstery at the end. So we have, going into 2018, we'll have our standard silver paint and black upholstery. That will not change. We'll be adding 7 special order paint and 7 special order upholstery options for next year. These aren't necessarily going to be sitting in the DCs built, but we will have pre-qualified at the factories these paint and upholstery options. So the lead time should fall within standard lead time for a build-to-order product. As far as upcharge, $65 upcharge for custom upholstery, $45 upcharge for custom paint. If it's something not listed as a special order color, there will be an additional charge to source that upholstery or paint. But the whole idea here is just to have pre-qualified options for our customers. And then we'll also have, early next year, we'll also have some samples of this paint and upholstery, physical samples that we can order that the sales team can have in their hands, and so you can show customers and get feedback on it. That's been one of the areas where we've had a lot of feedback where it's nice to be able to see this stuff. So, oh yeah, and there's the website. So right now, the customstrength.corehandf.com, that walks through the process and the colors that are currently available. We'll be updating that and adding all of the new special order colors. And that will also be available in the catalog and on the standard Core Hand F website. Next slide. So on the left-hand side of your screen here, these are what's offered today. And then on the right-hand side, that shows the colors that we're adding. So we looked at the competitive market and saw what they were offering in terms of different color options, and tried to match that. We also looked at what we got orders for in terms of custom colors. So it's kind of a mix of that, but again, just giving more options for customers that are pre-qualified. Next slide. Oh, looks like that's it. Yeah, so right at a half an hour. Okay, I guess it's time for questions, Adam.
Yeah, so I've got a couple questions here, and then I wrote down one question. If you guys have any questions, now's a good time to send them. The first one, when we keep the Explode line, leverage line, are we going to use the same type of plate holders like the Star Trek line to create some consistency?
Yes, we are in the process of updating. Initially, some of those products are going to be the same, but we're in the process right now of updating the deadlift shrug, the leg press, the linkage leg press, and then the seated dip. We're updating them to have the black trim pieces to tie in with the plate loaded and the leverage line, and also the same weight horns. So we're going, those pieces that we're keeping around, we're updating those to have more of that same family look.
One of our viewers asked if there was any reason they couldn't share this PowerPoint with their customers. I didn't see any reason. Do you, Jake? Was this one you'd be comfortable with sharing with customers?
Yeah, no problem, no problem. And just keep in mind there'll be more to come. I'm working with the team right now to update the overall offering in the catalog, so the new catalogs are consistent next year. We have a poster that shows all of our strength products that's orderable by all of our customers and dealers. I have it sitting on my wall here, and I stare at it all the time just to keep all the product lines straight. So that'll be updated and that'll be available. So yeah, please do. You can share it with your customers.
So guys, we'll have that up on the porthole as well under the WebEx tab, under in the box 2.0, and then WebEx there. You'll be able to find this presentation there on the porthole. Mike asked, sorry, I wasn't always trying to say who was asking these, but about the leverage line, there's kind of a broad question, but are there any bugs any things that you can address that have been worked out of that product line, stuff that maybe the guys would have experienced in the past that you know?
Yeah, there were issues with the pivot points and the arms in there. So those have been addressed, and we're also in the process of having some options for some products in the field on that. So those leverage lines have been updated, through bolts on the joints, and then the pivot points where we're having issues, those have been updated.
Now, another question was regarding the Instinct line and any known plans for changing or updating that product line in the future.
You know, not right now. I'd be anxious to hear. I'd love to hear some feedback on it. We've done some changes, like small changes. If, for instance, the multi-position bench, there were some complaints from customers on that when you tried to do a laying down bench press, your head wasn't on the pad. So we made updates to that. We make small changes to the line when we get input from customers. But in terms of updating the whole line, we don't have any plans to do that right now.
The question was asked about when will black shrouds be available for the one line next year?
They're actually available right now. I just don't have everything updated in terms of the process online. But if there's a customer interested in them, let me know, and we can order them today.
That's a good answer. I wanted to see if you could explain the bolt-through joints. You mentioned that multiple times throughout the presentation.
I did. And I realized as I was going through, like, it would have been nice to have a picture. So some of the previous benches and racks, they would have a joint where you would, for example, where the bench tied into the plate holders on the back of an Olympic bench. Your joint would just go through one wall of the tubing, and over time that would break down and we'd have quality issues in the field. So all of those joints have been updated, so there'll be like a 6 to 8 inch bolt that will go through both walls of the tubing that it's bolting to, and we'll have a nut on the back. And it's just a much more durable design.
Is that sort of an industry standard? Are there others that don't do the bolt through this way? Can you speak to that?
It would be an industry standard for a commercial product. Some of the vertical or some of the entry level products wouldn't have the complete through bolt there, but it is a standard for the full commercial products.
So it kind of brings us to par on some of those products.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Someone asked if you can address some experience that has been in the field regarding human sport cable troubles. Are you aware of that? Is there anything you could speak to that?
Oh yeah, certainly. So on the human sport cables, there were some the pulleys. Let's see, where it came out of the pulley, you could pull the cable over, and there was a sharp edge where it could scar up the cable. So the pulleys have been redesigned to address that. So they have a rounded edge where, so if someone doesn't come straight out of the cable, if they come at an angle, it will be on that rounded edge instead of the sharp edge. So that was updated last year, I think. But by the time we got through some of the products in inventory, it was probably early this year where we started to see that in the field.
Is that upgradable to products that are in the field?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. Someone asked, do we have a plan with the retiring of the explode zone? Do you foresee a functional custom type unit like torque or gym racks, anything like the Life Synergy products? Is that a direction we're looking to go? You said there were some options. Can you give us a few more detail on that?
Yeah, I would love to hear some feedback on that. So the Explode Zone, we're not selling hardly any of them. So that's why we're EOLing the line. What I would like to develop is a configurable rig or rack system where you can do suspension training, but you can also have a station for a barbell on there. I don't have that. That's not in development right now. It's on a roadmap for down the road, but it's been a lower priority. So I'd love to hear feedback from the team on kind of what they would be looking for in a product like that, and that'll help me to get it moved up the priority list.
You guys are doing great with questions. I'm trying to keep up here. Someone asked if there was any plans with the updates to Nautilus One Shroud is there any material changes with regards to durability?
No, and I would be anxious to hear, or I'd love to hear where there's any issues with Nautilus One. It's been one of our best lines in terms of durability in the field. So if someone's having a problem, I'd love to hear about it.
So Jake, would you want them to email you directly? Let their sales rep
Sure.
know. I mean, either way.
Yeah. You can reach out to me. And that goes for you guys. I mean, you're welcome to drop me a note or give me a call with questions at any time.
So someone asked, just out of curiosity, why is Human Sport not considered a dual station in addition to functional option?
Well, you could. I mean, I put it under functional training. You could. That's my fault.
And from a salesperson standpoint, I've definitely pitched it in both ways in the past. I know that guys do that.
You know, certainly can.
The Human Sport, guys, one thing I want to make really clear, this was a reintroduction of the entire line as it sits today. And as Jake mentioned, next year, 2018, we're going to be focused on product training. You're going to get pretty much every WebEx that we do, and we'll probably do a few more next year than we did this year. And they are going to be product. And strength's going to be a huge part of that. Jake's going to dive into details that we have not given you in an informal training way. So one, email Jake things you want to hear more about. Email Tom, email James. Let these guys know what you need to hear more about, and we will address those things. But two, this wasn't that WebEx, right? So we're going to get into a lot more details. Like we're just going to talk about Human Sport for 45 minutes, and we're just going to talk about one for 45 minutes. So be prepared. That's definitely coming. Jake is working on those things as we speak, being prepared for that. So the more information you give him, the better. There's a few questions here that I'm going to table, guys, because they're more like marketing questions or whatever, and they kind of get into details that we need to hit in a more focused WebEx. I'm going to go ahead and kind of close this at this point. Thank you for your participation in future WebEx. Please be this active. Give us the questions. It is extremely helpful, and it makes for a better presentation. Jake, I want to thank you for your time and for being willing to answer all of those rapid-fire questions. You did a great job, and hopefully that gives you some ideas of ways to prepare for those detailed WebExes coming up next year. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and close it down, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.